So Wicked is finally out, and I went to see it yesterday. Um, I've been actually looking forward to sort of seeing this movie for absolutely ages. It was one of those things, like I think it was the Barbie movie. I was always interested. Like as soon as that snowball started rolling, I was always interested in seeing the movie. And it's been the same thing with Wicked. I've just heard about it over time, and it's one of those things where I'm not interested in musicals at all. I'm not interested in The Wizard of Oz. In fact, I actually find the whole thing kind of strange. Like, why are people so obsessed with it? Each their own. But I decided I'll go and watch it. The thing for me, the thing that started it for me, is the fact that Ariana Grande was in it, and I have been a fan. I was a massive, much bigger fan when I was 15, 16, but I've been a fan since I was about 12. So I wasn't gonna miss the movie, whatever it was. Anyway, I thought, right, we'll give this a shot. We'll see what it's like. This is basically what Ariana Grande loves: Broadway, musical, all that kind of thing. That's the perspective I'm going to come into my review with. And I just thought, let's just make a video talking about it. I didn't actually like it very much, but I thought, get my sort of take on it out into a video, just like with the Britney video that I did about her book. Because why not? It's a cultural event. I thought, it's a bit different. It's not just something I'm going to put on a stream, a random stream. I'm not just going to talk about it there. I'm actually going to put it into a video. So without any further ado, it wasn't as I expected it to be. So I think the first thing I should say is I don't really have the cultural background to like the movie and to get the movie. So I this year haven't been on social media in the same way as I have been in previous years. So I've been on YouTube a lot, but I haven't been watching, I don't know what the whole holding space thing is. I don't know why each of these things are, all these trends are happening to do with the movie. So I don't, none of it sort of comes down to me, and I don't have a clue what people mean when they reference them. I didn't even know about the whole Cynthia Erivo. She saw somebody, like a fan, had made a poster, like changed a poster that had like cut off half her face or something, and she was angry. She was not happy about it at all. I had no idea about any of this going into the movie. I still don't understand the whole holding space thing. What is that? Why is that so popular? Is it just from an interview or something? And until this week or recently, I hadn't seen the Wicked song. So went into it very, very blind. A lot of people that I know have seen it. A lot of the more theatre kid type people have seen it. And even some people, I went with my brother and his friend, who are definitely not on that side of the spectrum. They are a lot more sort of, they didn't want to see it. They wanted to go to make fun of it, and I didn't. I was actually going with a completely open mind. I knew that basically my sort of way into the movie was like, I'm not going to make fun of it, but then again, I'm not a massive theatre kid myself. I'm like, right, I'm probably more this side, but I don't love musicals or anything like that. So, unique perspective. I was going because of Ariana, and I wanted to see the whole fuss was about. Because especially, I was on Twitter in 2019-20, hearing about Kristen Chenoweth, and about the whole Wicked thing, the live Wicked musical back then that she was, going on about. I still didn't get it. I didn't get the whole idea of it. Anyway, watch the movie. It was not as I expected, I guess. I was expecting something a lot more fast-paced, something a lot more like what I would want to watch. No expectations for the musical itself, because I have no idea what it's like about. And actually, I haven't even really watched The Wizard of Oz in years. But for a movie, completely distancing it from the actual subject, from being The Wizard of Oz, it just didn't really work for me. So what I will say is, again, I like these kind of movies if they're done well. I'm not against them. I'm not, I wasn't going into it with a bias against it, and I'm not trying to confirm that now. I actually wanted to like it, and I was expecting fully to buy it, on DVD and watch it again later. But, so basically, last quarter of it, and this is kind of what I was thinking on the way out, so I could actually have something to say about it. But basically, the last quarter of it was okay. I thought everything, maybe Emerald City, Train to Emerald City onwards was pretty okay. But otherwise, I just thought it was slow. That's how I'd describe the whole movie. So basically, um, movie starts. They're in like this cornfield running through. There's a lot of stuff about sort of the witch's backstory, which was interesting in and of itself. I've watched some videos about it afterwards 'cause I was trying to understand the whole Wicked storyline. Apparently, the witch is the wizard's daughter, but I didn't get that from the film at all. It didn't clock in my mind. I didn't know how Galinda came into it until they got to university, and I was really confused when at the start she was at this like Burn the Witch parade, but like she was talking about how she was friends with the witch, and it completely went over my head that she was the narrator of the movie, which I've also heard, which would make sense because she was telling the story at this parade, right? So all of that stuff went completely over my head. So it starts, there's a load of music to start with, loads and loads of scores throughout the whole movie. It's a musical, you expect it. But I thought they were not done that well. I thought music itself was okay. I know the producer of the music is a pretty esteemed guy, but I didn't really like the songs that much. What was worse was the fact that they were just crazy long. I actually watched Ben Shapiro's review because I watched a few. His was one of them because I was just like, this is crazy. I've got to watch this. I know he did one about the Barbie movie. I didn't watch that. But he tends to do movie reviews. Anyway, watched it. One of the things he said, and he hit the nail on the head. And I didn't actually want to watch people's reviews, too many of them, because I was like, well, I want to have my own takes for this. But the movie, and this is something I thought during, the movie was just too slow. The pacing was just wrong. These songs would go on for ages, and there would be action, and this is what he said, there'd be action within these scenes where, music was happening, but I wasn't interested in what was happening, during these songs. There was one where the witch, they were at the party. I don't know if this was a musical kind of scene or if it was actually just the witch dancing. I think she was dancing like completely alone in the silence of the party, and that was just awkward, like really, really awkward. I got what they were trying to do. They were trying to kind of connect her to Galinda. Didn't work for me. And also the whole Galinda witch thing didn't work for me either, because you start with them liking each other, like they're indifferent, then they don't like each other, then they hate each other. They had a whole song about loathing, and then very quickly she gets this sympathy towards the witch because she gives her this hat for some reason. Obviously she gives it her because it's supposed to be hideous. Goes to this ball, feels sympathy for her, and it instantly becomes great friends with her. And then obviously the whole popular thing is, Cynthia becomes Ariana's, I'm just going to say the actresses' names because it's easier, pet project. That makes sense to me, but it doesn't make sense how that, that wasn't done throughout the whole time. I think the whole switch was just too quick from hating to loving. Also, now this is something that I did want to say, and something I was personally very happy about. Popular Song. If anyone is an Ariana Grande fan, they will know Popular Song. From 2013, from Yours Truly, her first ever album. She was my age when that came out. and I had no idea it was a reference to Wicked. Or I probably did, but I didn't remember, and I never really clicked with anything with that. So basically, that was a duet with Mika, and I heard Popular on the soundtrack album. I thought that was quite interesting, but I never gave it a full listen. In the movie, obviously I was forced to, and yeah, it is you can tell exactly where she got the ideas from for that song. Completely interpolated the whole thing in her own, and obviously her own is better because it's a pop song. But yeah, great little intertextual thing there. I thought it was really quite good. Anyway, other than that, not much else as a fan watching it. You're not going to get much else from that if you are a fan. I don't know if there's anyone else, any other kind of big figures in there. Don't know. Ethan Slater's in there, and he is a bit of a mess, along with Ariana. I think, 50-50, you got to shoulder 50-50 of the blame. But I mean, he left his wife and newborn kid to be in this relationship, which is just crazy. And I'm like, how did that happen? Like, he's not even like one of the main characters. He's not even the prince, the Prince Charming guy. He's not. So how did that dynamic come about? I don't know. Crazy. But I finally see what character he plays. I again never watched the Broadway musical. I had no idea what his character was. I had no idea what kind of a big part he was going to have, and he wasn't that big. It was just mad. Anyway, another thing, setting, you would never know that was filmed in the UK. At least I wouldn't. I didn't know what the Seven Sisters thing was until, well, didn't clock it, like connect it to anything, until I watched a video about it afterwards, because I was interested in, learning more about the musical. So that was all filmed in the UK. I didn't know that, but I was like, could be London, could be filmed in a soundstage, but I genuinely had no idea. Until watching afterwards where in England it was filmed, and learning that most of the stuff was not CGI was really quite good. I did think some of the kind of scenery was a bit kind of unconvincing. It felt like almost, some of the concrete sort of railings and stuff. This is one of the things that I specifically noticed, and I don't know if this was shot on film or something, because maybe some of the grain was from the film grain. But it felt almost a bit like it was like polystyrene foam, just kind of cut out and shaped. It didn't look that realistic to me. But I was kind of in awe a little bit when I saw some of the scenes, and it was just like these massive, huge. The university was, and also, why is it called that? That's a crazy name for a university, but it was absolutely massive. This huge scale thing. The amount of money they must have put into that, because they didn't CGI it, as far as I can tell. That is pretty impressive. Pretty good scenery. It does feel like something out of a fever dream. I was constantly just like, my mind was trying to comprehend this whole thing, and I was like, even in a fantasy world, nobody would go to a university that looks like this. This looks so strange. My mind can't get around this. No one would go to school here. But anyway, it was an interesting casting choice, setting choice. But yeah, anyway. Anything else to talk about? I've not got a script here. I have no idea what I'm even saying, but I'm just kind of going over all my thoughts about it, because I'm just like, it was an interesting thing. I have loads of things I want to say about it, but I'm not like a professional reviewer. I don't talk about this kind of thing. I just wanted to kind of go over some of my things that I liked and didn't like. But yeah, I think we'll go back to the music of the film. Defying Gravity, I did actually add to my playlist a while ago, maybe a week ago. I think it's okay. I think it's a good song, like a good title song, especially because I've been skipping like into it the whole time I've been listening to it without watching the movie. So it's a good song. It's a good track for the musical, but I don't know. They dragged it well out in the actual thing. And that all comes back to the movie was too long. But yeah, it was definitely the standout song. Then maybe Popular, because I'm a fan, and then maybe something like that. There was another good song. I can't remember what it was called, but there was another decent song. Other than that, I thought they were all quite forgettable. I thought the whole the whole thing about going to the Emerald City, I thought some of the contraptions in the wizard's house, like that talking head thing, that was pretty weird. I don't know. That whole thing was a bit far fetched. I think they kind of constantly were on the line between kind of different styles within the musical, and they didn't exactly match what I was expecting within the movie musical. I didn't match what I was expecting from it. I would say I kind of thought this is a little bit far fetched at moments, and at other moments this is a bit almost too fantasy. You know, I can't imagine even these characters to be here, and this is a little bit, you know, dark, especially when, you know, the monkey started growing wings and stuff. It was a little bit strange, but mainly that's all critical. But like, I could have pretty easily gotten over it if it hadn't been for the fact that it was really slow. I thought that movie was so slow, and it just let it down. I would have come out with a completely different idea behind the movie. I would have been able to talk about it, say all those things, and sort of go. But it led up to something. You know, it led up to the second part really quite well. But there was just mad pacing issues for me. I sat there at times bored. During the party scene, you know, defying gravity at the end took too long. You know, even the scene in the libraries, things like that, it just took too long. They were setting things up for too long. At the start, when they were introducing everyone to the school, and they had this, you know, Cynthia started using her magic on everything. Even that scene took too long. Everything just seemed to be weirdly paced, and some of the sort of plot points seem disconnected. I still don't understand how the prince met Cynthia, met character, Elphaba, met that character, kind of tried to Riz, um, failed. I thought he was like a wandering traveler or something, but then later on he goes, you know, he like makes a connection to her when he's already been talking to Ariana. That was an interesting choice. I didn't realize until later on that they were the same person. It really confused me. Um, I thought the whole connection between Nesta and Block, whatever his name was, the ginger guy, that was interesting. I thought it was cute. I also thought I felt sorry. I felt, you know, quite sad because it's like it kind of plays into the idea that he can't do any better. But also, I felt happy that they kind of showed that dynamic as well, and they gave each character a fair shot. But also, they didn't, because, you know, just because she was in a wheelchair, she was being kind of discriminated against. It was an interesting thing. It could have gone either way. I think they did a fairly decent job of it, um, and they showed Galinda's humanity throughout the whole thing. Also, they made her kind of stay on the line, stay on the fence throughout a lot of the movie. I think that was the point, obviously, but at times it kind of didn't really make sense. Even in Defying Gravity, it was like, "Are you coming with me? I want to come with you. I can't come with you, but I'm gonna, you know, give you this broom." But maybe, and then it kind of, because the song went on for 15 minutes, it was like kind of walking towards her as if she was going to come with, and then but then the song's lyrics are complete discordant, so it's like, I'm gonna have to leave you on your own to do this, and then she goes and flies off anyway, right? But Galinda still likes her. I don't know. Also, I don't think it really played into it enough that the wizard had. If I'm going to be really critical, it didn't play into enough the fact that the wizard had this massive sort of dictatorial grip on everyone. I think he had this mad aura about him, but genuinely, everyone loves this wizard. No one really knows why, because he's supposedly got magic powers. He actually doesn't, as we find out. A bit too late for a spoiler warning now, but yeah, I don't think it really played into that enough, because Galinda at the end was still staying with the wizard and trying to advocate for him. Why? I don't know. Who knows? I think because she knew she didn't have the power of Elphaba, but even still, she could have just been, a third party, on the fence. She wasn't. She was with the wizard. It didn't really make sense to me, and I think I actually want to engage. I don't want to have any hate comments, but I want to actually engage with all the comments to do with this sort of video review, because I actually genuinely want to have a discussion about this. This is something I'm interested in. I will be watching the second one. I really hope it's not as long as the first, but I do want to watch the second one, because even though I don't think in a lot of ways the movie should have gripped me, the storyline was good. It is a good storyline. So yeah, I will be watching the second one, and I do want to find out, especially after 2 hours and 40 minutes, exactly how it ends, because you want to finish that story, But yeah, anyway, that's about that. I do think the whole choice of putting Cynthia Erivo, a black woman, against Ariana Grande, a white woman, like an Italian, when Cynthia Erivo was the subject of like racist sort of thing, is not great. I think there was a BBFC classification of, and I didn't know whether to say this in the video because I don't want it to be misconstrued, but basically there was a BBFC classification of the whole thing, trigger warning, because there's race sort of adjacent sort of stuff in it, because Elphaba's green. I thought that was ridiculous. I still do. I think it doesn't need a trigger warning. That's crazy. It's like this whole generation has completely just lost their minds. But I do think that maybe, like, obviously equal opportunities, I believe in that. I think anybody should be able to play anyone. But then again, it does seem a bit strange when you are putting a black woman in that position where she's having that whole race adjacent narrative put on her the whole time, especially when the BBFC acknowledges it with a trigger warning about race. It's like they know that this whole thing is the case. So I do think it was a bit of a strange casting choice. But then again, I also do think, and also, can I just say, Ariana Grande did not look like Ariana Grande, pop culture Ariana Grande, in this. Anyone that's watched Sam and Cat, like I have, I didn't watch Victoria's, I was a bit too young for that. Anyone that's watched, listened to yours truly, everything from that 2013 and before era, you know what Ariana Grande looks like. But I'd never seen her actually for that long, even in all these years of being a fan. I'd never seen her perform and whatever, even at live concert recordings and stuff. Never. I didn't go to Sweden at all. I couldn't get tickets, but I'd never seen her for that long. She doesn't look like the pop culture image from 2014 and onwards. She doesn't have the eyeliner. She doesn't look like the same person. It's really interesting, but obviously still very, very good looking. That's not a bad thing by any stretch. Anyway, in fact, it's good because it's like back to her roots. It's showing her natural looks, her natural beauty. It's a lot better. Anyway, the last thing I was going to say was I can't remember actually now. I was talking about, oh yeah, Cynthia. Just that poster thing. I think it's a bit crazy. I don't really understand the background behind it. So yeah, I mean, she was talking about like erasing sort of stereotypes and things. I don't know why it's a real bad thing that somebody added her face back into something that they took half of it away from. I get that people aren't going to like when, there's a message behind something, when somebody then goes back and goes, it just makes like an edit of that message. I don't know. I just think it's not deep. It's not deep at all. Obviously, if it was done with malice, it would be really not okay. But it wasn't done with any malice. This was a fan, as far as I know, anyway. So I think she was wrong to say that. And actually, she was very clever to say it, because it just helped snowball the movie even further into public consciousness, as with everything else, as with all the other trends. So I think it probably actually helped the whole movie in the end out anyway. But yeah, that was my review. I think overall, if I had to give it a 5-star, I would probably say maybe 3 stars. I didn't actually like it that much. I think there's a lot of things that went into making it good, but there was also it was just the pacing, and It's just generally not my kind of thing. It could have been more something I was interested in, even if I don't really like the genre of musicals and that kind of thing. It could have been more catered to me, but it wasn't. Um, and I think the second one's got a lot to kind of lead on from now. It's got to kind of live up to something else, because, and it's got to hopefully be paced a bit better and that kind of thing. I didn't really get the hype, basically. I think a movie's got to live up to the hype. Barbie massively, hugely over delivered for a movie about a load of dolls. Like, I wasn't expecting that at all. I only went for a laugh. But you know, this under delivered, in my opinion. That's my takeaway from it. So thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and check out my Twitch channel, because I'm streaming all kinds of things. I don't usually make kind of culture commentaries because I like to just talk about random things generally. But yeah, that is, I'll do occasionally these kind of things. It's not kind of the main thing of the channel, but I will occasionally put a few things out on my channel about, you know, whatever's going on, new movies, new music, that kind of thing. Anyway, see you in a bit, guys, and bye.